Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 182 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on October 10th, 2023. How are all you wonderful folks doing? I hope you're enjoying the great weather. We were on travel recently, and the great weather seems to be spread. Spread far and wide so far. I do hope a lot of you are out shooting and having fun with your silencers. This has got to be the time of year for that. I know there are a lot of deer hunters right now going out bow hunting across the country. I've seen it. Oh man, it's so cool. So good luck to all of you. May your deer be large and the buck racks be gnarly. Some important topics today, and frankly, some extremely exciting things to talk about. And probably the things I talk about today are going to be very disruptive. In fact, I would say this is probably going to be one of the most disruptive phases of this podcast and the PEW Science effort as a whole. As we enter these new chapters, which are driven by consumer demand and industry progress, you as a listener and as a PEW Science reader, and you're going to need to buckle up. I think it's going to be really great. I'm being serious, but at the same time, I'm just overjoyed with what is going to occur here. I think it's just going to be really great, and I'm so excited for the research progression. Just oh man, what a time to be alive! And so we're going to build to it. Okay, like anything, PEW Science plays the long game. That's what we do. We are a very strategic organization, and our timelines are extremely long. We are not here for a short time. So it'll be a slow burn, but you will still smell smoke. I promise you that. Okay, so I think today is going to give you a window into what's going to happen. First up, we have a new sound signature review published right now. That's right. With this podcast episode, there is something right now on the website from Resilient Suppressors. And not only is it from Resilient, it's Rimfire. That's right. Rimfire is back. Bolt action Rimfire. That's right. And what is bolt action Rimfire? It's the most violent silencer platform at all. Of them all. Okay? Do you think 556 is controversial? No. For all of you silencer users out there, you know what's about to happen. Okay? Buckle up. And then next, after that, so we'll talk about that today. The next thing I want to talk about is something you did. Yes, you listening. You did it. What did you do? Well, you didn't do it exactly, but you did have a hand in it, and now there's no going back. That's right. I'm going to talk to you about a little something called the M4A1R3, the Daniel Defense 14.5-inch 5.56 AR15 with mid-length gas. It's coming. Be afraid. And So that's the second thing I'll talk about. And then finally, because I really do think it's more important than ever, I'm going to thank each and every member of PEW Science. Okay? You're making this happen. The disruption is fostered by your individual contributions. Okay? This is grassroots asymmetric warfare. Now and forever, baby. That's right. Let's get on with the show. I'm telling you, let's go. The J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Legion Athletics. That's right. I'm taking the pre-workout right now. I'm on that blood orange flavor, fam. The traditional one, the one with stimulant. They have stimulant free too, but that's not my jam right now. Because nothing you do, exercise, sports, really anything is worth doing without consistency. You have to do it all the time if you want to be good at it, and Legion Athletics can help. Whey protein, pre-workout, post-workout. Do they have everything you need? Probably not, but they have a lot. Visit legionathletics.com. There's a link in the show notes. Code word PEWScience to save 20% off your first order, and you keep using that code for double loyalty points. You'll end up getting a net 10% off everything going forward with the points using that code. Get strong, get swole. It's important. Save money. That's right. And also, this podcast is proudly sponsored by Top Gun Range Houston. If you're in the Houston area, even if you're just passing through and visiting, they're worth checking out. In addition to having a 15-lane indoor shooting range, they have the largest firearm rental fleet in the entire state of Texas, and Texas is a big state, so that's a pretty big deal. You can rent pistols and rifles and shotguns and machine guns. Sheen guns? That's right, Sheen guns. You can check out their firearm rental inventory on their website at topgunrange.com. You can also find them on Instagram at Top Gun Range. Please go bother them right now. This episode is also brought to you by high-end armament technology, Heat. They are a dealer of exactly that, high-end arms and accessories. They have significant longevity in the machine gun and NFA game and significant expertise in the procurement and operation of night vision, thermal optics, infrared sighting systems, and all kinds of gadgets that will probably cost your kid's college fund. But let's be honest. What's more important to you? Check them out at highendarms.com, on Instagram at highendarms, and they even have a Facebook page, which is also High End Arms. I hope they can help you folks out if you need it. Tell them Jay sent you. This episode is also proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop. You can use their kiosk, do your fingerprints and photos electronically, and in turn, you cut down on errors. You simplify your silencer purchasing process. You get a money-back guarantee. It's pretty good. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors. It's just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified, which is good because silencers proliferating on a large scale are important for the populace. And finally, this podcast is brought to you by the PEW Science Laboratory. That's right. I am the technical director of the lab, and in the interest of public education, the lab sponsors this podcast, and it runs a public research effort. And that effort continues to push the industry forward one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. That's right. It is the simplest, most accurate hearing-safe rating for suppressed small arms. It is based on true human inner ear response from the entire gunshot, from before the combustion takes place all the way until all of the combustion is gone and all of the mechanical operation of the weapon system is complete. The entire signature. That's correct. And all in the free field, just as the mill standard intended. Apples to apples, baby. PEW Science is the home of the Silencer Sound Standard. There are 7 sections. It is the most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis in the world. And it's available to the public 24/7, 365. Check it out on pewscience.com, and you can support this podcast. You can support PEW Science. You can support all the public testing as part of this effort by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. There's even a donate feature on the review page and podcast page if you just want to give a little bit or more or whatever you want to do. That's awesome. Every little bit helps. And you know what? If times are tough and you're not looking to throw any coin toward this effort, I understand. Makes sense. No problem. Something that's free and doesn't cost you anything. You can always give this podcast a great 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And that'll let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome. And we can help to normalize the use of suppressed small arms worldwide. Let's go. 3 topics for you today. Topic 1, new sound signature review. That's right. 6-125. The resilient suppressors Jessie's girl on a 22 bolt action. Oh my God. The last time you saw Rimfire data and analysis from PEW Science was on PEW Science Silencer Sound Standard launch day. And since that historic day, we have given you a wide variety of information. So what we'll do today, we're going to circle back to the quietest systems that exist in suppressed small arms. Now that you have context, let the battle begin. Topic 2. Speaking of battles, see what I did there? Just when you thought it was safe to suppress the AR15, do you have time, sir? Do you have time to discuss the 14.5 midlength gas system? I hope so, because you should pull up a chair, get comfortable, and maybe throw out a lot of things you thought you knew about suppressing the AR-15, okay? Fighting battles on multiple fronts is going to be the theme going forward. Good luck. I'm here to say it. It's going to get nasty. Topic 3, how are we able to provide all this consistent and topical information for almost 4 years running, continuously and accurately and with exceptional quality and relevance? How are we able to do that? With PEW Science Member support. That's how. That's right. Behind every monumental effort is a backbone of support. And the grassroots PEW Science Army is stronger than ever. That's right. From dealers to distributors to manufacturers to consumers to families, everyone is banding together to educate the masses on the wonderful world of suppressed small arms. That's true. So cheers to you. It's working. Okay? So these 3 topics are what we're going to go into today. It's going to be awesome. I'm pretty psyched about this. Okay, we got new data, we got new platforms, and some of them I haven't even spoken to you about yet. They're going to come back. It's crazy. What a time to be alive, baby. Topic 1 at a time of 11 minutes and 14 seconds. Let's go. Oh, my God. You don't even know, dude. Topic 1, sound signature review. Oh, my God, it's Rimfire. 125th article. It only took us 125 articles to get back to the first article. This is the Resilient Suppressors Jessie's Girl on 22 bolt action. Oh my God. Again, in the intro, I don't know if you listened to the intro or not, I'll just summarize real quick. The last time you saw Rimfire data from PEW Science was at launch of the Silencer Sound Standard in 2020. PEW Science was formed in 2019. It launched publicly in 2020. And those first 2 articles were Rimfire. You've waited that long. There's a method to the madness. And in the 125th article, chaos ensued. No, someone had to do it, though. When you really look back on this, someone had to be first. It takes balls. Large balls. Reckless balls. Enthusiastic and visionary balls. Regardless of the type of balls, we can all agree that to be the company first up in this suppressed rimfire rifle gauntlet, years after the lone silencer, the venerable rugged Oculus, was showcased, to be that company, a minimum of some type of balls was required, yeah? So, the trophy for having at least some type of balls goes to Resilient Suppressors. Okay? Is that theatrical enough for you? It's important to talk about that. Let's go, man. Look, is Resilient Suppressors the only company to have tested rimfire with PEW Science? No. There are more, and they will come. But is Resilient the first one to push it to be published? They are. That's right, they are. And that is what you see today. It's live on the website right now. Okay, this is contracted work. This is for Resilient, and you see it right now. It's live on the website right now. Unless you're an early bird and listening to this too early, be patient. Go back to bed, wake up. It'll be on the website. Wait for the newsletter to come out. Okay, relax. Now, a lot of you listening, this is really fun for me because just listen. This is really fun for me. A lot of you listening have no earthly idea what is about to happen. And that's okay. Because me witnessing you discovering what's about to happen is going to be super fun for me. Like this is I'm going to love watching this, dude. This is like, oh my God, you have no idea. When PEW Science started, you saw 22 data like you had never seen before. The very nature of the decibel immediately fell into question by every single person who read the Silencer Sound Standard, okay? Nobody, and I mean nobody, had ever presented any data like this publicly, and the suppression rating was presented too, which completely turned everything on its head, and overnight, we changed the industry because for the first time, an independent and objective benchmark was available, okay? Independent and objective. For the first time ever, companies couldn't game the system anymore. For the first time ever, your quarter mile time at the drag strip was etched in stone, and you weren't allowed to handle the chisel at all, dude. You weren't allowed to touch it. Okay? Big deal. Trust me. I've been in the silencer game for a very long time. Method to the madness. Now, what did we do? We started with 2 rimfire hosts in those first 2 articles back in 2020, didn't we? We did something radical. No one had ever done this before. What did we do? We did 2 things. Actually, we did 2 things. The first thing we did was we used a 16-inch bolt-action rifle, and we used a cartridge that would remain subsonic in that barrel. Okay? We used, and you guys are saying it with me, you guessed it, the most reliable and ubiquitous and consistent rimfire ammunition widely available for silencer enthusiasts. It's been used for a very long time. What is it? It's the CCI standard velocity 40 grain load. What do you do when you shoot that on a 16-inch bolt action? What do you do? Like, let's just say it. What do you do when you shoot it through a 16-inch bolt action? Well, with quiet silencers, you end up significantly testing the limits of measurement apparatus and analysis. Why? Well, now you're getting concerned with firing mechanism noise, along with long-duration gas phase. And frankly, only the best test engineers and analysts can create consistency here, guys. It's the most challenging testing you can do, probably in this space. And we did it in the first article. Blind. We did it blind. Yeah. That's what happens when you're a leader in an industry. Okay? What's the second thing we did? We picked another extreme. That's right. So you see, rimfire rifle, why did we pick that? Well, we wanted to bound a case. I've talked about this before, but this is good to hear for you to hear it again. We wanted to bound a case. So look at the suppression rating scale. Look at it. What is it intended to capture? Suppressed small arm spectra. PEW Science deals in suppressed small arms. The analysis of suppressed small arms. We are specialists. The entire effort is for suppressed small arms. Look at the scale, guys. Look at it. Then realize what's happening here. We are quantifying silencer user risk. What better way to show you how dangerous rimfire can be than showing you right after we showed you how dangerous it can't be, right? We did it with random ammo. Okay? The pistol test you see in Article 2, that was done with a short barrel, small semi-auto pistol with random ammo. Anything is subsonic out of that gun. But what did we do? We wanted a true worst case. It was literally pocket ammo from a random... and I don't want to blow up their spot. It was literally pocket ammo from a random person at the range. And so for all of you new to this, in the early days of PEW Science, in a lot of the testing, there were a lot of people watching in person. That's right. A lot of people very high up in the silencer industry saw it all. So for all you people like, oh, we can't, Jay doesn't video his stuff, dude. We didn't need to. Okay. They saw it in person. They were like, oh, holy crap. Like, that's right. That's right. Come get a beer with me someday. I'll tell you the story, okay? So if you're a conspiracy theorist, relax. You're going to need to sit down, okay? This goes deeper than any of you can possibly imagine. You guys getting bogged down with what you think is conspiracy is actually blinding you to the fact that PEW Science has pretty much been in your walls the entire time. There is no conspiracy. The only truth that's been told to you since day one is what you hear right now. Okay, this is for the consumer, and literally PEW Science did this under the nose of the largest silencer organizations in the industry in the world. Okay, so nothing's been a secret ever. Okay. So with this 22 pistol test, in fact, what I'm going to be doing now, just so you know, just because this is what we're doing, because I decided. You're going to see 22 pistol again. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to circle back and we're going to redo the rugged Oculus on the Beretta 21A. We're going to redo it first. Why are we going to do that? Because we're going to use CCI standard velocity. That's right. So on the Beretta 21A tests, we're going to go to standardized ammo. And PEW Science has decided unilaterally that the 21A will be the pistol test host for Rimfire because we've already used it. And we've done a lot of testing behind the scenes with it, and we've even done contracted testing with it now. Okay, so if you're gearing up to have your Rimfire pistol tested, or I'm sorry, your Rimfire silencer, your Rimfire pistol silencer tested, you need to make sure it does well on the 21A. That's your goalpost, okay? I don't care what Ruger pistol you think we should use. I don't care if you think Taurus should be used. I don't care what you think. The Beretta 21A is the first semi-auto 22 host, and you're gonna need to embrace that now because that's what's happening. Okay. And all those people, oh, they're not reliable. We've never had a malfunction in our testing. So clean your gun. Okay. All right. I'm being real with you today. You're going to get a lot of information coming up from PEW Science, and this is how it's going. And it's going to be a time. Okay. So one second. So right now, what are you seeing today? What are you seeing today? Today, the Rimfire chapter continues from 2020. It is the end of 2023, and the Resilient Suppressors Jessie's Girl is now on the website on the CZ452 bolt action. Since this has been 3 years later, let's quickly talk about the CZ. Why are we using it? Well, for one, it's my personal rifle that I used to test when I invented PewSoft, and when I invented the suppression rating. Okay, it is the first host. It is the atom of PEW Science hosts. It's the original man. It is the first host that was ever used, actually, with the system. It is threaded half 20. Due to that idiosyncrasy on that weapon, we use a special half 20 to half 28 adapter. Does that slightly increase the barrel length? Yes, it does. Does it make the host a little tiny bit different than a standard 16-inch barrel? Yes, it does. Do I care? No, I don't. And we're sticking with this, okay? This is the host. That's it. No discussion. The next time you get 16-inch data that's different from this, it'll be on a Ruger 1022. Semi-auto. That's right. And why? We've already done some of that testing. We did it 3 years ago, okay? It's either that we do that or something else. I don't know. But we're gonna have to do semi-auto rifle too. We just haven't. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe we split the difference because you have a short barrel, you have a 16-inch barrel bolt action. Maybe on Ruger 1022 we do a 10-inch barrel, whatever. Fact of the matter is we're gonna do this methodically, just like we do all of our other research regimes. Okay, we've actually done so much 22 testing that you don't know about, and so much other testing that no one knows about. It's insane. If you were around when PEW Science was founded, and you were around in industry when we were going around testing in front of groups of people, you know what we've tested. You've seen some stuff, and you're probably like, oh my God, he's still around doing this. And that's right, we are. It's funny. A lot of people listen to this podcast, and a lot of people that know about PEW Science have no idea. They weren't around. All you do is you maybe you listen to the podcast, maybe you see the website, maybe you go on, discussion forums on the internet thinking that people on the internet know about it or something. No, dude, no one that's talking about it on the internet knows anything about the early days of PEW Science. The people who do, they don't talk about it publicly. That's right. You're gonna start knowing. Because this is getting crazy, dude. And the reason, and I've said this before too, I feel like this is a PEW Science reunion episode. I told you about this before. The reason we didn't do 22 for so long is because it's not as hazardous to people, frankly. It's just not. And so we bounded the problem in an extreme fashion for the cartridge to do the best good we could for the safety of the public. So what did we do? Because I really wanted this to be for the people. I mean, that's why it all started, right? We had no idea what was going to happen. The only thing we knew was that people were going to love it and use it because we did. So what did we do? We bounded the problem for Rimfire in an extreme fashion. Again, bolt action 22, and then a tiny random ammo semi-auto pistol. Do you get it? Do you understand that? With review 1 and review 2, so what is that? That with section 6.1 and 6.2 of the standard, you have data points at both bounding regions of subsonic 22 hazard. With those bounds, you should, theoretically, with those bounds, you should be able to operate intelligently if you understand the suppression rating. Okay? And that is, you should be able to operate intelligently with Rimfire hosts. Okay? But as time has gone on, we do acknowledge that there has clearly been a demand for Rimfire testing. And one of the reasons for that is because, as we all know, every single silencer manufacturer says that their 22 silencer is the quietest. Right? Everyone's like, oh my God, Jay, sound is not the most important thing for a silencer. Okay. Everyone's 22 silencer is the quietest, right? Everyone's is. Everyone says that. My silencer is the quietest. Okay, cool. Let me ask you something. I've asked this question before. Maybe it's more topical now. I'll ask it again. How can every single silencer be the quietest? How? If you are a silencer manufacturer, your silencer is always going to be the quietest, isn't it? I can tell you right now that the answer from the silencer manufacturers is something you're about to really need to pay attention to now. Because remember how like everyone's like, you know, PEW Science started testing stuff. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is the quietest. This is the quietest. And all of a sudden, like we started testing a lot of stuff. We tested so much that PEW Science got super popular and started proliferating worldwide. And then all of a sudden, people who didn't like the answers started to say things like, well, sound is just not that important. But except it is when their silencer is the quietest. When the silencer is like shown to be like has the highest suppression rating on the website, all of a sudden sounds really important. All of a sudden when the suppression rating is really low, all of a sudden sounds not important. Okay, why don't you let the consumers decide what's important? They're the ones buying the product. Okay, yeah, why don't we do that? Let me tell you about this resilient thing. I have it in front of me. It's pretty cool. Resilient suppressors. The Jessie's girl. I'm using the article V in front of the name. It is tempting to say Jessie's girl is a quiet silencer. I can't say that because it doesn't make sense grammatically. Inconsistency. Like it makes sense to say it because of the word, but because it's named after it just the way it is, I have to use the, and it's been tripping me up as I write. It's been tripping me up as I say it, but I'm going to say the. I know it sounds weird. Put yourself in my shoes. Okay. So I'm going to say the Resilient Suppressors Jessie's girl. I know I sound like a serial killer doing this. It's a quiet silencer. And sure, this is a 22 bolt action test. Okay, I know, and you silencer purists are like, oh my God, of course it's quiet, duh. Like, I know, dude. It's literally one of the easiest platforms to suppress known to man. That's what makes it so giggle quiet, okay? So yeah, you look at this. You're going to look at the article. You're going to look at what's published. You're going to say, yeah, sure, the rugged Oculus is quiet too. It is. But I'm going to need you to remember something. With this publication of the Jessie's girl, you only have 3 data points on this gun. That's right. You got the rugged Oculus in this long configuration. You got the rugged Oculus in this short configuration. You got and you have the resilient suppressors Jessie's girl. And it just so happens that the Jessie's girl is neck and neck with the long configuration of the Oculus on this weapon system. That is coincidence. I know it seems like it's not. I know you're going to think they're all quiet like this. I know you think that. I know what you think. Trust me. I know exactly what you think. Do not think all silencers perform like this on this gun. Do not think that all silencers perform a certain way on a pistol. You are not going to have a good time if you start making those assumptions. There are things that longtime silencer designers and enthusiasts know about baffle design in the subsonic regime, guys. If you are a true silencer guy, which means you are a sucker for subsonic suppression, you know exactly what is going to start happening here. I don't even have to warn you. Look, and I'm going to say something, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, and I don't mean to be inflammatory, but and I'm not trying to alienate any of you, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a come to Jesus. All of you who got on this PEW Science data train due to 556, you're about to take a college course in silencers, and it has nothing to do with your loud AR15s, guys. Okay? Welcome to Silencer 101. You sit down, you shut up, you're going to pay attention, because all of the silencer people are about to take you to school. And it's not just me. There's generations of silencer people who are about to take you to school when it comes to 22. Okay? What type of silencer baffle performs best on a low-pressure long barrel rimfire rifle? What type of silencer baffle performs best on a higher pressure short barrel rimfire pistol? How do you balance back pressure? Does back pressure matter on 22 rimfire semi-auto hosts? What are the limits of rimfire stealth? What are the limits of rimfire host operation and stealth? How quiet can you really get? How high a suppression rating, how high of a suppression rating is reasonable? Who is going to be the one to first peg the scale on these hosts? Think about it. What's possible? You literally, and I know a lot of you asked for this, you didn't really know what you were asking for, which is cool. That's half the fun. Some of the best things in life that occur are desired without understanding consequences, right? Sometimes it's actually cool when you don't understand what you're stepping into, so you can grow. You have no idea the absolute madhouse that you've just stepped into. Of any single silencer controversy, and I know you think you know the answer to this too, but I'm going to tell you, of any single silencer controversy, the only thing more politically impossible and insane than subsonic 9mm pistol is rimfire. So you guys wanted it. You did. You popular demand. Grassroots. Manufacturer balls. Resilient suppressors. The Jessie's girl. This is the intro. Go look at the data. And frankly, guys, don't shoot the messenger, but frankly, there's not a lot to see yet because there aren't a lot of rimfire reports on the website. You're just going to have to stay tuned. It's going to get nasty. I promise you. It's going to get nasty. Resilient picked a hell of a time, and they came out swinging, dude. Swinging right with the Oculus on this host in a light package, too. With a silencer, frankly, that can do some things on a pistol that you're going to have to think about. It's a big deal. That's right. Oh, we have pistol data too? Oh, we do. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, buckle up. Okay. So what we're going to do next week, next week, we'll hit the technical discussion next episode. Okay, per typical. We will. I just want to let all this marinate for you right now. Well, this is just one of those things where we're releasing an article the same day as the podcast, and I give an intro. I've done this several times. I hope this is good. I needed to talk about it because we needed to officially relaunch 22 data. Excuse me. It's been over 3 years. So remember, guys, and I don't care what your opinion is about this, frankly, but 22 silencers are literally the most important silencers that exist. So. I don't care if you don't like it. Because if you don't know that 22 silencers are the most important silencers that exist, you don't know silencers. Okay. Again, the reason we held off from testing these is because we didn't think it was as big a risk to public health. But can't avoid it forever. The industry can't avoid it forever. So kudos to Resilient for ripping the Band-Aid off, I guess. What have you done? I have no idea. He's like, oh, this will be great. They're so competitive. I know. It's good. You can hear the earthquakes now. Topic 2, a time of 34 minutes and 2 seconds. I know you guys think I'm being dramatic, but I'm really not. If you've been around a long time for the silencer wars and the sound wars and silencers, it's funny how people thought 5.56 was controversial, and the industry went insane. Just wait, dude. You think 5.56 is controversial now for silencers? Oh my God. Is it because it was subsonic and people didn't understand what subsonic or super? Is it because it was supersonic and people didn't understand the difference between supersonic and subsonic suppression? So learning that made it controversial? Could have been. Now what do you do when you have subsonic 22 and all of a sudden there's like a standardized metric that they can't fudge? Oh my God. And that's the whole thing, right? Not being able to fudge the metric. Like that's the whole problem. That's why everyone's so up in arms, because they can't control it. Imagine how that must feel. And I understand. I do sympathize. I don't sympathize. I empathize with that. Yeah, I can imagine how it must feel. To feel like you can't control how something's presented. All you can control is the performance of your system. Yeah, that's how it should be, though. So it's not lost on me how it must feel. Just know that it's how it has to be. So sometimes things are uncomfortable. So we talk about the 22 battle and how I think it's going to be a big deal eventually. I don't think we're going to publish a lot like right now, but it's going to be there. It's just going to be in the wings, like kind of looking. We talk about that battle, and in this topic, I want to talk about a battle that probably is going to ignite controversy in a way that I don't think anyone was thinking was possible. And I put in the topic description, I wrote the words, just when you thought it was safe to suppress the AR-15. And I talked about fighting battles on multiple fronts and that being a theme. And I do wish good luck to all the people designing silencers and that have designed them. And I hope that may your silencers be quiet and may they not gas the user. Do you remember when the Mark 18 started to be tested? Pepperidge Farm remembers. You guys picked it, right? Remember that? And remember that time when we published like 30 tests or something, and then people realized that balancing muzzle suppression and shooter's ear suppression was hard. Remember? And then people realized the Mark 18 was really loud, and the AR-15 in general is pretty difficult to suppress. Remember all that? I remember it pretty well, vividly. And remember when it was you, the consumer and the industry, who picked the Mark 18 for this. Remember? We remember. So then we're just going down memory lane. Remember when everyone thought that they understood the suppressed AR-15 and everyone was an expert? And then like, remember how everyone just used Mark 18 data to estimate all 5.56 performance because they thought it was worst case? Remember that? I remember that too. I told you to be careful. I say a lot of stuff. I told you to be careful. I told you it was just one hose. I told you. All I can do is tell you. So now I'm going to tell you here today, it's time for the reckoning. And it's time. What if I told you that you got a preview of silencer performance balance on subsonic 300 blackout and supersonic 308, And that balance also applies to the 5.56 AR15. What if I told you that? What if I told you that there are factors that you didn't think about? You might be scared or upset. And frankly, many of you will be scared or upset when you recognize the gravity of what's about to happen with this research progression. There are technologies that you have taken for granted, not because they're good or they're bad, but because you have a limited physical understanding of their behavior. What makes you think that the combustion dynamics from a 10.3-inch barrel that is supposed to be 20 inches long for the cartridge, what makes you think that that in any way correlates to a 14.5-inch barrel? Then, for that matter, what makes you think the ultra-short dwell time of a carbine-length gas system on a 10.3-inch barrel with an 070 gas port behaves in any way like a mid-length gas system on a 14.5-inch barrel with an 076 gas port? What makes you think those are the same things? Then, I'm going to ask you another question. What makes you think silencers designed for either one of those are going to perform the same way on either one of them? What makes you think any of that? No one ever said that from PEW Science. So if you thought all of that, if you thought any of that, it's because you thought it, or you got that information somewhere else. You didn't get it from me. You didn't get it from PEW Science. Everything that I've said is recorded, and it's on the podcast. It's on the internet. Everything that I've written is on the website. You can go back and search for what I've said. Hell, I was looking at Spotify. I had damn transcripts in there automatically, freaking AI and stuff. Crazy. 1 second. Remember early on when I basically, when I pimped the Faxon 11.5-inch mid-gas barrels? I had no endorsement from Faxon at all, by the way. I mean, frankly, and this is important for some of you to know in this historical record, because it's all public. Pretty much, I mean, not only did Faxon they blew me off, and they completely ignored the entire effort of PEW Science. They basically blatantly ignored me after like actual conversations in which I told them how amazing their product was. I was like, oh my God, dude, this is amazing. I can't believe you guys are mass producing this. This is great. This is going to make so many suppressed small arms users happy. Goodness gracious me. 11.5-inch mid barrels. And they're economical, and they seem to be made relatively well. Man, good job, guys. I was like, this is great. It's public record that Faxon had zero to do with my enthusiasm about 11.5-inch mid-length gas systems. Okay? It is public record that the people making the barrels had zero to do with me, with this effort. They didn't even talk. They didn't want to talk to me. That's fine, dude. And I'm not mad about that, but I'm saying that for a reason. It's important because why do you think the guy in charge of the largest public silencer testing research effort in the world would publicly say that he really liked a certain barrel length and gas system? Why would I say that publicly? It's clearly not because of the people who make the barrel. I'm not a shill. I'm not whatever. This is public record. Why was I so emphatic that this was something good to use? It's because of the combination of barrel length and dwell time. It is the definition of the perfect SBR silencer platform. It is so good. The 11.5-inch mid is so good that former Tier 1 guys are using it. And they did not start using it because their former employers told them to use it. They are using it because I told them to. Write it down. I cannot take credit for that barrel. PEW Science cannot take credit for that barrel. That's obviously, that has existed forever. I don't make barrels, dude. That's not my idea. 11.5-inch mid isn't my idea at all. But what I can take credit for is telling people about it and why using it is super smart. So you sit down, you hear me brag about this, and probably if you don't like me, you get mad, that's fine. You hear me say this, and you think to yourself, well, that's all well and good, Jay, that's fine, but what does it mean for 5.56 silencers? I'm getting to that. I just need to make sure you have all the background. What it means is that there are systems that perform well on the Mark 18. There are systems that perform well on midlength gas 14.5. And then there are systems that can perform well on both. And I don't just mean at the muzzle, and I don't just mean at the shooter's ear. I mean both metrics on both hosts. Okay, we're spanning the gamut, guys. I had a conversation with a client yesterday or this morning. I can't remember when it was. I had a conversation with a client to remain nameless to protect their identity. I was telling them. They asked me. Oh, it was yesterday. They asked me, why is the Mark 18 and the 14.5-inch mid a bounding case? And I gave them a very long answer. We'll talk about that, but. We can talk about that later. We've already talked about it ad nauseum on the podcast. You all picked the Mark 18, then you picked the M4 mid-length, and we talked about why we did that. That's definitely public record. So I'm going to ask you guys something a little bit different. I'm going to ask you in a little different way, or say it a little different way on the podcast. What makes a 5.56 silencer have high performance? What does that even mean? What makes it well-rounded? What makes it, and to use a dangerous term, what makes it the best at suppression? Is it how it ranks on the Mark 18? Is it how it ranks on the M4? You got to buckle up for this one, baby. We have tested enough to understand grossly what is going to happen. I have been doing this for a minute, and there are some surprises, and there are also some inevitable things that, as silencer designers and end users, there's some inevitability that you're going to have to deal with. If you want to take your systems through this next chapter and live to tell about it, you're going to have to pay attention. And I'm going to say something else, and you guys could really listen to this. You think you just tuned the gun? Cool story. What happens when the Mark 18 or the M4 is fielded by a SWAT team? And I'm not talking hypotheticals, because the SWAT teams call me. They call PEW Science for advice on data interpretation for silencers they're using on their teams. What happens when the Mark 18 and the M4 is fielded by those guys? What happens when every Tom, Dick, and Harry is buying the M4 at a gun store? What happens when you get water splashed on your face and wake up all of a sudden, you realize that the mid-length gas 14.5 isn't even the worst case? And most of the M4s that exist, they're the old carbine length gas systems. What happens when you wake up and you hear that? You thought your back pressure was bad on the Mark 18? Where is your God now? No, seriously, I'm being dramatic again, but I'm setting the stage. Sometimes people are like, oh my God, we had no idea. No, I'm warning you. It's early enough. I can say it. It's not like I'm talking about anyone in particular. You haven't even seen data yet. You will. I've tested a bunch, so I already know what's going to happen. That's what happens when you do something for long enough. You kind of start to be able to forecast stuff. It's crazy. So I'm doing this podcast topic. I just told you all this as a courtesy to both consumers and industry. This is happening. There's nothing you can do to stop it. So just prepare. If you thought the Mark 18 data mattered, just wait, dude. Mark 18 was super popular, right? Everyone loves the Mark 18 because the cloners and I get it, dude. And a lot of people, law enforcement, get it. Is short barrel rifle, is it worst case for some things? For something, yeah, it could be. Yeah. Think about 14.5. You can literally pin and weld muzzle devices to get that thing to 16 inches, which means no SBR. You're about to get data that is going to spread so far, you may as well get a pass. You can take this when I start publishing 14.5 data, you might as well take it with you when you get passport photos, dude. It's going to be everywhere. This was demanded by users. Demanded. So you got to do me a favor when we move on from this. You got to do me a favor. I've done all this for you. Just do me a favor. Do not shoot the messenger. I'm saying that to everyone. I'm saying that to the consumers, the dealers, the distributors, and the manufacturers. Do not shoot the messenger. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. I've already seen some of you. I see some of you online getting all mad at Jay. Say, "Oh, Jay's chart. Oh, the chart said." Okay, well, you want to get mad at me? Well, you better come correct, because the data's right, and there's a lot of it, and it agrees with user experience. And if you thought that was true in the Mark 18, just wait till you see the 14.5. If you thought it was true with 22, just wait. Just wait. The data utility, the amount of when you really understand what we were going to do in 5.56 land, when you increase the barrel length by 50% and the gases and the dwell time just got longer too, guys, the data utility is ramping up to 11. You're going to be able to do things with it. You're going to be like, oh my God, what have we done? What have we asked for? What did we choose? Was it worth it? And I think the answer that everyone's going to say is absolutely, dude. I'm going to tell you right now, it's funny. Before I started this afternoon, this podcast recording, I was actually crunching more numbers, and I was looking at them. I was like, oh my God, dude, people don't even know what's going to happen. Did you know some silencers are so specialized that you're not going to believe it. I did a double take on some of this. And some silencers, God, I can picture the marketing now. If I was a silencer company, I'd make a shirt with some kind of famous baseball player that could bat left-handed too, and be like, oh, I'm a switch hitter, and then put a switch hitter and then the silencer on it or something. I don't know. That's a free idea. Take it if you want. But because I think some of these silencers you're gonna see their switch hitters, and you're gonna put a silencer on a Mark 18 or an M4, and it's gonna do well. Whereas some of them, it's meh. Some of them get creamed in some areas. Some of them are lackluster in others. It's so, dude. You couldn't have, and it's crazy because it explains some of the phenomenon that people see. When you look at some of the super famous silencers and you hear what people have said about them over the years. Remember when we talked about Surefire silencer and the War Comp, and when we saw how the War Comp performed, we figured out why a lot of people thought they were loud, the silencer was loud. What if there's other things besides the War Comp? What if silencers also? I mean, I've hinted at this over the years, right? We've seen things. We've seen some silencers that behave completely differently when you change certain pressures. What if that happens on 5.56? What if I told you that we have data to indicate that it might? Would that scare you? It's gonna be one of those years. Topic 3, a time of 53 minutes. 40 seconds. He's unhinged. Topic 3, how are we able to do this, really? I asked you this in the intro. I'm going to ask it again. How are we able to provide this consistent and topical information for almost 4 years running? How are we able to do it without compromising quality? How are we able to do that? How are we able to stay relevant at the tip of the information spear? He's being hyperbolic. The way we're able to do that is with PEW Science Member support. Full stop. None of this would have happened without the community. As I explained in the first topic of Rimfire testing, the effort was launched with the consumer in mind. Priority 1, PEW Science would not exist without the palpable disappointment and bewilderment and rage, frankly, that a lot of you, and I know I felt when I sat down and I realized I really had been lied to about most of the silencers I personally purchased on a Form 4. And I did that after watching YouTube videos and going to manufacturer websites and compiling the decibel specifications and the marketing content and looking at it all and be like, after work, and be like, oh my God, I'm so tired. All I want to do, what is the damn quietest 308 silencer right now? I just want to go hunting. Ugh. Nothing stated about silencer performance by any of those entities carried any factual weight that I found useful or meaningful or actionable at all. And it wasn't until I took it upon myself to spend my nights and weekends for an entire year testing and analyzing silencers with my own hardware and software and engineering knowledge. When I took all my expertise and poured it on this, just burning the midnight oil, it wasn't until I did that I solved the problem for myself. Just for myself. Forget if you don't like me, if you don't like PEW Science, fine. I did this for myself, dude. I did this so I could not be tricked anymore. And I almost kept it all to myself. And because really, I would have never had to worry about buying a loud silencer again. Because as long as I could get my hands on it to test it, I could put triple hearing protection on and test this thing with my system and I could know after doing the analysis what was what. But that wasn't going to be good enough to make a difference because everyone was going to need this. So that's when I founded PEW Science. Okay? And what was the next step? The decision that this could never fall into the wrong hands, because then we would be right back where we started and everyone would be faking the suppression rating. So we keep it protected. And here we are from 2019 at the founding to 2020 at launch of the Rimfire data, to the end of 2023 with the largest independent data set in the world that's used by everyone from consumers to tier 1 groups worldwide. From all of that, we've changed the silencer world with your help. With your help. You listening, okay? It's your help listening. You just listening helps. Your contributions help. Your help educating and spreading the word is paramount to this. Okay, so I want you to go enjoy that resilient data, dude. The Jessie's girl. It's live now. It's cool. It's right here in my hand. It has a flash hider on the end. You know why they put the flash hider on there? 5.7 rated, baby. Dude, go to town. Full auto. Is it full auto rated? Yeah, put it on your American 180 or whatever 22 machine gun you think you have. You should, though. Jessie's girl. They funded the test. Resilient did. We owe Resilient Suppressors a lot. We owe them a lot for their support of the PEW Science effort. We owe them a lot for kicking off this 22 gauntlet in 2023. We owe them a lot for their balls to make it happen. And you know what? Resilient also owes you a lot listening. They owe you, PEW Science supporters, everything. Because without you, they wouldn't have a platform to showcase this. Okay? And I owe you just like they do. Okay, isn't it cool how this is all a big family? So go enjoy that. Stay tuned for next week when I dig deep into the silencer, get all up in Jessie's girl. That sentence is going to be isolated. For now, please stay safe out there, friends. Enjoy the weather. Don't be too scared about what I talk to you about on this podcast, although you still should be cautious about it. Just be careful. Mark my words, there's a lot of data coming. Stay safe out there. Please enjoy the weather. Go shooting. Use silencers. It's important, okay? I'll talk with you folks again soon. All right, bye.